Why have European players really, if you look at the last 6 MVPs, it's been European players. You got Jokic with 3, you got Giannis with 2, you got Joel Embiid with 1. Why have we seen this shift to where European players are starting to dominate?
Yeah,
the
I mean,
NBA
just in the
world?
draft, and 2 reasons. One, the rest of the world is bigger than us, right? So we've got 330 million.
Yeah.
There's 8 billion people in the world, right?
So they got 7.7.
Yeah, so there's more options available, right? Particularly now with Africa and India, and I love whenever I think India now, I like that song, 10 Toes In, that what I'm talking about. But anyways, I digress. But so there's just more people, and then the training methods are different. There's no equivalent of AAU. And, kids here, like my son or whoever, they're playing game after game after game, but hardly practice.
Wow.
And over there's 2 practices a day, and you might play 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 times a week. And so the focus is on developing skills. And no matter, here, even still, we kind of pigeonhole people into certain positions. You're big, right? You get down on the block.
The biggest guys you played the 4 to 5.
Right. And so, and that's changing some, but they don't really work on all the skills, or even more importantly, the basketball IQ. And I take that back a little bit, because kids now are far more skilled at the high school level, at the junior high level. You see the handles, right? Like, my son's got handles, like he's got my athleticism, unfortunately for him, but my son's got handles like,
I don't know how that's gonna work.
yeah, I mean, I used to be able to dunk, but still, he's still got my athleticism. And so, but his handles are off the charts, right? And it's no big deal. All the guys on his team can handle. And they get that from social media, but they don't get the same basketball IQ, right? They don't. So that's what I try to work on with him, right? Head up, what's going to happen next, right? Anticipate where things are going. And you don't see that a lot with AAU. And then parents get into it too. It's like, get my guy some minutes, right? Or my girl some minutes, and that makes it more difficult.
It's not like that in the European parents aren't hummingbird helicopter, and they're not hovering over.
Not like here. Not like here, because, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on kids too, right? They're in the meal ticket, and that's tough. That is really tough.
Dennis Schröder crossed some flag. He said, they asked Dennis Schröder, he says, because European basketball is straight basketball IQ, no entertainment. Straight coaching, really, really high IQ guys who know how to play the game. Of course, the U.S. is the best league in the world, but Europeans, they're coming for sure.
Yep.
KD didn't take kindly to that. He's like, because he took a picture of that when they won the gold medal, best IQ and entertainment. What was Dennis Schröder trying to say, and do you understand what he was saying?
Yeah, of course I understand, right? So once you get past the top 30 players, right, IQ matters, right? Because you've got to be able to play with Luka. You've got to be able to play with Kyrie, because they have high IQs and everything else to go with it.
Right.
But the guys who are, 5th, 6th, 7th, and lower on the roster, you got to have a high basketball IQ to know where you're fit, know where your role is. And if all you ever learned was, dribble, if you don't have an IQ, right, it's going to be harder to fit in the NBA, right? And so they're both, KD giving him a shit was right, because we have the best players. It's not even close, right? But but still, out of those top 20 players in the, there's a reason why those guys have been MVP. And so if you have the level of skill that you need, and you have that basketball IQ, and it's developed. And if you flip it around, if we did the same development here for kids, and you combine the athleticism and the skill with the basketball IQ, there might be half the number of European players or foreign players in the NBA. We just don't give them that basketball IQ support.
Are American players, are we too reliant on athleticism?
I think it depends. To a certain extent, yes. There are some players that, like the KDs of the world, like the LeBrons of the world, that are American, have basketball IQs off the charts. They're just insane, every element of the game. But kids see that, and they try to replicate, what Anthony Edwards does, right? Dunking behind his head, right? And, dunkademics and all that stuff, right? And I don't see that from European kids coming in. And I think that's the difference. If you applied the same training techniques and combine that with the athleticism that we have in this country, Yeah, it'd be a whole different league.
I've never seen him play in person, but you've had a front row seat to see this guy over the last decade, and that's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
When you look at a guy, and just look at him from television, you're like, okay, he doesn't have the cap shoulders like Giannis. He's not freight trained like LeBron. He can't jump out the gym like a young Shaq. But bro, he just light people up. What is it about him, Mark, that makes him so great, so unique, that he's able to dominate when he doesn't have anything about him that's physically dominant?
Yeah, I mean, if you just saw him in a play cup, you would be like, who's the chubby dude, right? Oh my God, he can play, right? But it's skill,
right?
Skill and basketball IQ. You combine being 6'11", 6'10", 11 with basketball IQ, skill. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass. He sees things 3 steps ahead. Him and Luka are like, twins in a lot of respects. And when you have all those elements to your game, like there's always a place for a shooter, right?
Yes.
Always a place for a shooter in the NBA. There's always a place for somebody who can rebound. Now, if you can rebound and shoot, okay, you're going to be good. If you can rebound, shoot, handle, you're going to be really, really good.
50 million.
Yeah, if you can rebound, shoot, handle, and your basketball IQ is top 5 in the NBA, you're unstoppable.
Right. In 2006, you said the situation with Dirk, it changed. He started to take the way he ate, the way he trained, the way he did every single thing was different than the previous years because he had gotten so close. He got a taste of what it was like to play in the NBA Finals. You go up 2-0. You had to be feeling.
I thought this was going to be a fun interview.
It is. We go get to the fun stuff. So when you go up 2-0, you just like, we got this.
No, we were up 2-0, and it was the third quarter, and we're in Miami, and I always sit right behind the bench to this day, right? And I'm standing up, clapping, and I'm thinking, we're up like 14 in the third quarter. And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, we might sweep these dudes. Not 2 seconds later, right? Udonis Haslem steals the ball, goes in for a layup. Now it's 12. Then a couple minutes later, Shaq pushes Eric Dampier, pushes him, and they call a foul on Eric Dampier. I'm like, oh, if he hits these free throws, we're in trouble. Shaq hits 2 free throws, right? I'm like, oh shit, we're fucked. And went downhill from there. And Dwayne Wade goes to the free throw line
crazy.
973 times, right?
True.
So it was over.
Mark, let me ask you, the relationship that you have is unlike maybe only what Dr. Buzz had with Magic. Is that you party, you hang out with the players, you've hung out with the players. Do you find, how do you manage that? Because at the end of the day, you are the owner. You can sign players, you can trade players, you can release players. Has that ever interfered with your relationship with the player?
Yeah, for sure. Like my first year, we had a player named Eric Strickland, who I got to be really close with. Mm-hmm. Went to Nebraska, didn't have a long NBA career, but great dude, right? Okay. And we got to be really good friends. And it was draft night, and our guys were like, here's a trade we need to do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, right? We're going to have to trade him. And, and it was then I learned that you've got to do what's best for the team, and players respect that, right? And players, when they get traded, they may not like it, but they see another opportunity, hopefully the next place. But I also realized that basketball is X number of years. Life's a long, long time.
Correct.
Right? And like, even when we screwed up and let Steve Nash go, I've gotten to be friends with Nash. He took some time, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't like me for a long time, but, now we're friends again. And so, it's okay to be friends with them. It's okay to get close to them. You just have to be honest with them. Right. And if you're honest with them, it's okay.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because we like to do something before 2 something.